Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Good Morning Education Show. My name is Rotimi Itaya, streaming from Lagos, Nigeria to West Africa, to the entire world. It's such a pleasure to be here today, and I'm excited to be your host today on the Good Morning Education Show. The Good Morning Education Show is a show we bring to you every Mondays all through to Friday, Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and absolutely Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. West African time. We are always here. Such a pleasure to always host the show. And of course, we always have people from across the world. We have people from England, UK, England, and we have people from UAE, we have people from Dubai, we have people from Asia, we have people from Africa, different part of Africa. And of course, we have people from West Africa, Nigeria, to be precise. And it's such a pleasure to be here. And we always have a great time on the show. And today, absolutely, also will not be an exception. We have a fantastic conversation, I'm sure, that affects everyone, either at one point or the other. You've actually come across the issue being discussed somewhere in a fora or in a session or in a meeting or in a conference or even on live sessions like this. And we'll try as much as possible to talk through it and discover what exactly is the right approach. What's the missing link? How can we explore the dynamics of the issues around that? But of course, on the show, there are two things that you will always find regular on our show is the fact that we have guest analysts. Yes, we do have. And these are experts in their own right within the world of education and around the world of education. They share their views, they share their thoughts, they share their expertise, and we analyze the issues together so that we have a broad perspective. We learn together. We ultimately share together and grow together. And without wasting much time, we also spend time on the headlines, the news headlines within and around the world of education. We do not miss out on that. And that is also an opportunity for you to discover what is happening within your neighborhood, around your neighborhood, for opportunity's sake, for learning's sake, for development's sake, and of course, for feedback's sake. Please do not hesitate to ask questions as we start the show on the conversations we are having. We'll be pleased to answer your questions as much as we can. And then also make sure you try as much as possible to contribute. Sending a comment, sending a thought, sending feedback. Tell us we're doing well. Yes, shout out to our tribe members who consistently join us from all over the world. We love you guys and we are proud of you guys, and you are the ones keeping us keeping on. And finally, if you're joining us for the first time, please do let us know. Tell us your name, your location, where you're streaming from. There's something we call the bell of blessing. And we'll ring the bell of blessing, acknowledge your presence, and appreciate you for joining. Always remember to subscribe to our channel, like our videos, and share the videos. Tell everyone around the corner, tell everyone wherever you are, it's the Good Morning Education time. And welcome as we bring on Fini Folu Falodu. Fini, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Mr. Rotimi. Good morning to the Good
Don't
Morning
tell me,
Education
don't,
Tribe.
don't tell me you're sleeping in bed. You're sounding like you're stretching.
Oh, really? No, I'm not.
Wake up,
I'm awake. I'm
everybody.
alive.
No more
I'm ready
sleeping in
for
bed.
today.
Fantastic, fantastic. All right, so we'll go straight to the headlines. And I'm sure there's some interesting headlines that you'll be excited about. But seems like there's a lot of news around the world of tertiary institutions. Have you noticed that currently?
Yes, there's a lot going on in conversation around around education and edtech also. There's a lot going on now, and well, it's encouraging that a lot is going on, but then it will be much more encouraging that a lot more of positive is going on.
So you feel that there's still negative news around the corner?
Yeah, there's still negative news, and not really. It's not what anybody wants, but we want to celebrate cutting edge innovations in education. We want to celebrate, yeah, we want to celebrate people doing
Mm.
awesome things. Yeah, I have to do the cutting edge thing, but those that know.
Cutting edge all the way, cutting edge solution, cutting edge team, cutting edge zone, cutting edge everything. And that's it. So let's start with the headlines. And before we do that, let's recognize Olatunde Adebayo. He is always a loyal tribe member, an educator in particular. Olatunde Adebayo, thank you. Said, excellent morning, Rotimi. Excellent morning to you. Right back at you. Thank you. And we have the first one, insecurity. Kano government closes down school for fear of attack. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about this yesterday.
Yes, there's a lot going on. Yes, but then we don't want to hear about insecurity and it going as far as schools having to be closed down for insecurity. Really, it's become a serious issue in our climes. I saw a video of one of the senators talking very passionately about insecurity, and the unfortunate part of it is other members of that house seemed very uninterested, seemed very disinterested in what he was talking about. It looked like he was just ranting. But the truth of the matter is, yes, I put myself in the shoes of an average parent. I would rather have my child alive and well and with me, safe with me at home, at least in an environment that I can control, than to have them sent off to schools where a lot they may not even get to the school. The insecurity situation in the country is taking a new dimension, and really, for the sake of our future, I hope that this is not taken with the regular kids glove, or just wishing it will blow over or blow away and something just happens to make it right. There needs to be proactiveness and a coming together and alignment of all stakeholders to face this evil and drive it down.
Well, the truth of the matter is, sometimes, when you find out that people are not reacting to the degree with which you expect them to react, especially on matters arising or matters that concern education. A lot of people have a wrong perception of education. So they feel that education just looks like school. Think about an average senator who probably has children in the higher institution, who probably are not necessarily schooling in the country, or who probably have children who are already married and they're now having their own children. So you see, the farther that you are away from a matter, the higher the chances of losing interest. And when we say father, for example, you might not be having children, or you might have actually, there's a disconnect. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? The same time, you might not really understand the depth of the sector and how it runs deep. A lot of people still don't recognize that education is not just a route to further stamp your validation of civilization. Education is actually education is actually much more than that. Education is actually knitted into the fabric of society. And even the National Assembly needs to recognize, and the senators need to recognize, and every stakeholder needs to recognize that there's a tipping point this thing will get to, that it now becomes a template and boldness for other mayhems. Because if students are not having anyone to save them, if schools are now being shut down for fear, and you know how this thing is, sometimes the fear that we have is just staying safe and playing safe. It doesn't mean that there's going to be an attack. The truth of it is, when we now cannot feel confident enough to risk it to open the schools, what we're thinking they didn't have, they already have. Because what it simply means is that if you're thinking they didn't take territories, already the school sector, the education sector is a territory those people are taking. And what they'll begin to do is to begin to take economic territories if you cannot take geographical territories. So we cannot plant a flag in a particular place, but let's plant fear in particular places. So nobody will want to open shop. Nobody wants to open schools. And guess what? Is as good as somebody are taking your territory. And I think people need to realize that at that point in time, it will cost more. At that point in time, we will lose more. At that point in time, we might not be able to gather or manage, the destruction. So this thing that we are all sitting down, and I feel that there's something inside me that is just it's like there's an unsettling inside me that tells us that the disposition of people is because of the 2023 election. That it might not be far from it. Voice out their displeasure as they should, because they want to be sure what their fate will be in 2023. So some people are not voicing out as they should. Some people probably are actually part of the thing we are fighting, thinking that they are part of the solution. So I just don't know. But we pray that things get better, either way. Good morning, Dr. Titi Adeosi of Niger Kids. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Rotimi. Good morning, Fifolu. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, it's a good morning.
All right, so let's move over to another news so we don't transfer the energy to Tiki. UTME candidates to be refunded for unsuccessful registration. I don't understand what this means.
I don't understand. Before, if shouldn't you return my money? Is this news?
There's a point where you get to that you don't want your money. Why was it not successful? I did the right thing. And then is it shortlisting in this, guys?
Exactly.
How do we know?
What actually is unsuccessful?
It's like you pay for a flight ticket going to Abuja,
unsuccessful registration,
and then they tell you that they want to refund you because your ticket. I don't want to my refund. I want to go to Abuja. You know that kind of thing. Sorry, Finn, you were saying something. Hello, Finn. Okay. Can you all hear me?
What exactly constitutes?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Please go ahead, Finn.
Yes, so I'll say what actually constitutes unsuccessful registration. How do you say the registration was not on whose end was it? Now, people, children, parents that had plans already, or at this point this child is going on to, and then for no fault of theirs, in this, just like you said about returning, refunding flight ticket, it's not about for what now. If the registration is refunded now, what have they put in place to, first of all, what have they put in place to say that another refund happened? How did the system break down, or what? Oh God. Okay. I just, at this point, have nothing more.
At this point, we welcome Safety Chick. Safety Chick, good morning.
Or network.
Hear me very well?
Yes, we can hear you. You see that is having.
Are we going to refund? Safety Chick, we are going to refund your statement for the network that is affecting.
I wanted to be sure because I was really greeting, very long greeting.
Oh yeah, greet it again. Let's hear.
I said good morning.
Yes, you made $5,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, for Tina, Safety Chick,
there may be a need for Safety Chick to get a refund on her subscription this month.
Shay,
Yes,
don't mind these people.
it's been appearing and disappearing
Okay,
on the show.
network has been very, very interesting. Okay, so with this issue of JAM wanting to refund, I also stand with what Finn is saying, because we need to be certain on whose end would it be said that maybe a registration is unsuccessful. Because if parameters are not clear, what will happen is some people are still going to get what's the word? Some people are going to get cheated in the process, because to say, it's not from our end, or it's your end, or something like that. And by the time you don't want to get turned around, you don't want all the back and forth, you will just give up, right? So I feel like, first of all, it's a good thing that they're even thinking in that light. But the thing is, for those kinds of things to work, a lot of systems must be put in place. Like, the parameters have to be really clear. Otherwise, it's going to just compound issues and stuff like that. That's what I think.
All right. Okay. So, that's good. That's good. But we just believe that a lot of times the issue of service delivery needs to be addressed, because sometimes it looks like the customers are voiceless. It's like they're not even able to have their own voice, and we must begin to think about that on the show. All right, let's look at another news that is making rounds. We have Ogun State. Students raise alarm over insecurity and threaten to shut down schools. Does anyone want to say something on that?
Well, honestly, security is a major one. Um, and the affairs are over the abduction and killing of students in different parts of the country. But even though it's in different parts of the country, they also had their own incident of the two female students that were abducted from Olabisi Onabanjo University. So I can understand their concerns. So I think it's important that all these concerns are looked into and investigated, so that we're not giving medicine after death. So are there specific areas within the state, where they've received such report? What are they doing to reassure the students and the parents? So I think it's more of a thing for, let's look at the facts and the figures, and then let's also implement additional safeguards for everyone. So I mean, that is important. So while it might not be, I think it's important to know whether specific what's happening in Ogun State. Let's not use the what's happening in other parts of the country to just paint it with one brush. Instead, let's use to direct us, but at the same time, let's say what specifically is happening in Ogun State, so that it's not a just a crying wolf. I don't know whether.
All right, Safety Chick, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yes, so the issue of insecurity is causing some fear, and because people would rather have some things within their own control, maybe that's why the students are saying maybe we should even shut the school down, because like we said yesterday, it's scary when you are thinking of going to school and then you are thinking of all the bad things that can happen when you are there. So it's not encouraging you to even want to go in the first place. So it's a problem. It's a really serious problem. And until our government puts its foot down clearly, until our government puts its foot down clearly across, should I say, several levels, people are not going to have confidence in their safety and security.
Speaking about safety and security, I know that might be a bit early, but Safety Chick is putting together the 5th edition of the School Safety Summit. And I believe that it's an opportunity for you to say something about that, since we're talking about safety and security. Safety Chick, very quickly.
Okay, so the 5th edition of the School Safety Summit is here. It's on May 22nd 2021, and you can register at schoolsafetysummit.net. This year, we're focusing on the topic of online safety and online education, opportunities and risk. And this is because COVID made almost everyone go online, either for education or for fun. And we need to ensure that our children are protected and that our school systems are also protected. So we brought together amazing cybersecurity experts and educators to come and share with us best practice from their own experience. And because we're still in a pandemic, our keynote speaker is Dr. Joseph Allen, an associate professor of Harvard, who is one of the leading voices on ensuring safety in our schools, how to ensure that school buildings remain safe for children. So he's going to be giving us his keynote address on best practice for ensuring safety in this season, because they've been leading the research in Harvard on the things that can be done. In fact, it was their research that came up to say we don't need to, the problem is not cleaning too much and disinfecting everywhere. What the problem is shared air. And that was because of research and the work that they did over the period of last year, when the pandemic started. And so he'll be sharing new insights that have come up and how our schools can stay safe. So I believe that this is a great time for parents and educators to come and learn from what we have put together. The beautiful thing is free. So please register, tell everyone in your network. We're looking forward to hosting you.
Thank you. So is the link on the
Awesome.
screen correct? Schoolsafety.net?
No, schoolsafetysummit.net.
Oh, School Safety Summit. All right. It will be back up and intermittently we show it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Schoolsafetysummit.net. All right. So let's, on that note, move away from the gloom and doom and the let's go to the conversation of today. Today we're speaking on the topic, whose homework? Homework. Whose homework? Is it the parents' homework? By extension, are parents now students? Is it the students' homework? And by inference, what's the content of it? Why should a student need help on his homework? All this and many more. So I would like to start with Titi on the show today. When we talk about homework, how has been the experience? What's your concern? What's your reality on homework?
Honestly, when it comes to homework, I don't want to say I'm a fan of homework, but I'm a fan of homework. The idea of homework is to reemphasize learning. There's nothing you learn that you do it once and then you become perfect in it. There's a bit of exercise and revision that needs to go into it. So the idea of homework is, after a 30 minutes class that you have in school, you give them something to see how much they've learned and to help reinforce the learning. That's really the objective of homework. Now, because that's the objective, it's not meant to be done by someone else. It's meant to be done by the person that received the lesson. And because it's meant to be done by the person that receives the lesson, the idea is it should be done with little or no support. So once the homework, in my mind, is more than what the child can do, is one or two things. It means that additional learning needs to be reinforced to find out where the challenge is. So the amount of homework really would depend on the age of the child. Homework is not something that is meant to take you 6 hours to do. After you've been to school 8 to 2, your homework really should be something that takes an additional an hour tops. That's the way I feel. Something that the child does 10-20 minutes, they are done. Which also means that homework should not be too much. You should not bombard children with homework. I think I've seen cases where they give too much homework, and I think that's where some of the problem and the feedback is. Homework is not something that's honestly meant to take the child too long to do. So let me stop there.
Thank you so much. I love the way Titi put two major points out there, that it should be age dependent and it should also be seen as something to reinforce learning, which is very true. And which, of course, will lead me to ask the most fundamental question I'm going to Fini now. in your own way, what's the definition of homework? What would you define as homework? And you could also add to it what's the main purpose of homework?
Okay. So homework is their task given to students to help them further internalize, practice, get acquainted with concepts that they have been taught. Homework is not supposed to be done in class. There's classwork for on-the-spot assessment by teachers to gauge how much of what they have taught the students have understood. But when it's homework, it's like saying, okay, you have learned this thing today, go back home, practice it again, get used to it, let it be part of you. Homework grades or score add to the cumulative grades of students. So it's not meant to be something very that is taken so seriously that it should be taken seriously because it helps the children or the students to further understand what they have learned. But we find that many times parents complain about homework, one because of the bulk, and it's so much that the many times the children are struggling with it. They're on what is supposed to be done. Typically, like Zadeusi has said, homework should be done within 20 minutes, maximum 30 minutes, and then the child can go back to enjoying playtime and free time at home. So if the child is having to take 2 hours, 3 hours to do homework, then it's no longer homework. If it's beginning to look like they're preparing for Cambridge or Harvard exams, then it's no longer homework. Things like that should be treated and trashed in class. You explain the concepts to them, you troubleshoot it with them, and then when they get home, they look forward to let me go back to what I was taught today. Let me revisit it. Let's see. It should be fun. It should be something to then look forward to, actually. And the purpose, yeah, that's exactly is just what the purpose of homework is. It shouldn't be something that you now send the children home to go and give to their parents to do because the homework is beyond them, because it's something that the children cannot figure out on their own. So they have to go back and then parents start writing. I've heard of parents who have written in their children's diary and said, look, my child is not doing this homework and it should not be penalized for it. This is way above their age, or it should not be a task for the parents. It should not be a task to punish the students. It should be they should be tasked to just enhance learning and to help with gaining a mastery of the topic.
Okay, so there's a question that I'm going to send that. Now that you said this question is to you, Betty. Now, there's this school of thought that that of course an element of homework is also to try to bring together the parents being involved with the children's learning, right? So some homework in a way should kind of how do I put it? Should kind of encourage adult assistance, something like that. What's your take on that?
You know, like Pinyi said, if it is getting to a 3 hours something, 2 to 3 hours something, then it has left assignments to become something. It has left homework to become something else. And again, Mrs. Adewusi mentioned something about it being age appropriate. So yes, there is a place for wanting parents to get involved, but not now the one that it is so difficult that even the parents themselves are wondering, are you sure this is going to be this is age appropriate for my child? So I know that we also have cases where schools will say children should do certain projects, and then that gives children the opportunity to work with their parents. But then, this project does not happen every day. It doesn't happen every, so when it happens over a certain kind of specified duration, that is understandable. Homework happens almost every day. And so because homework is happening almost every day, it has to be balanced such a way that the ones the children can do by themselves, and of course, they are the ones that parents can also prefer assistance. But it doesn't mean that every day, because the parents also have their own, they have things that they are doing. And then if they are not showing up to do this thing with the children, it will look as if they are not paying attention. But it is not as if they do not want to pay attention. So what I'm saying in essence is balance. Balance is key. Yes, we know that there are opportunities for parents to work closely with their children, but maybe you can keep that to assignments that will happen weekends, because you know that the family gets to spend more time, while the day-to-day ones will be things that children can handle themselves. That's my own opinion.
Fantastic.
Rotimi, I want to add to the thing of parent involvement, and really, it's true. I know what my kids are doing in school by virtue of their homework. So once they have homework, you know that this is what they're learning. So I have an idea, and that's really good for me. I'm quite involved in their learning. So apart from this, all the newsletters that the school will send, the one that really brings it home is the homework. And if he hasn't fully learned a concept, then I know through the homework as well, and I'm able to give the teacher feedback. I'm able to give the teacher feedback that from doing his work, it's obvious to me that he hasn't fully understood the concept. I would take him through the concept as well as home. It's also an opportunity for me and my son to bond, which also over time means that he comes to look for me, that mom can run through his homework with him. But as my kids get older, I stopped doing that. Their homework, I honestly even don't look at it, because once they get into primary 5, I don't look at their homework anymore. I'm like, you're getting ready to go to secondary school where there'll be no mommy looking at no homework. So I begin to prepare them for them to be able to do everything on their own, self-regulate. If they don't understand, they know what to do in terms of getting the understanding. But from nursery all the way to year 4, I'm involved. And the homework, to be fair to the schools, my kids have attended, have never been something too hard for them to do. If ever they are hard, it's usually because the child has not understood the concept. And that's really where the parents then need to feel it in the book. That as I did help him with his homework, but from the work we did, it was obvious that he didn't really understand the concept from class. So, I think you might need to take him through again. So I give that as feedback. Let's remember that, education is not a one person, it's not the school versus the parent. It's a partnership. The school cannot do everything. They will do, when they send the homework to you, it's also for you to be able to see what your child is doing and help them where they have need. And if there's feedback to the school, you give them. And I always give the school feedback. There was I remember when my son was in school, there was an exam that he took. Even when we were doing his revision for the exam, I asked him that this topic, are you sure they taught you in class? Because you don't seem to know anything. And this was exam. He said they had taught them in class. When the results came out, the results were woeful. And I took it up with the teacher. I said, I'd be interested to know what the other people in class went, but I'll be very sure that they all didn't do well, because it didn't seem as if he understood the concept. And really, that's what happened. So it also gives feedback to the school. It gives them feedback, with regards to the teachers. It gives them feedback with regards to the topic. So let's not look at it as a me versus them. Let's look at it as a partnership. So that if someone falls or if there's a gap, then I'm able to point it out to them. But there are fundamentals of homework. One, it is homework. It's not meant to be slave work. So that means that when I'm serious, when they're in primary school, it should be something that, Fee said, 20, 30 minutes. When they're in high school, upper high school, then it's something that can take them an hour, 2 hours. But it's something to re-emphasize the learning. And if the parent feels that the child doesn't really show understanding of the concept, especially when the teacher did not state is to introduce a concept, they need to say that my child obviously doesn't understand this concept and will require further learning. That is it.
It's meant to be homework and not slave work. And Titi drops the mic.
We'll put it there. Mrs. Titi Adeusi, 2021.
Yeah, finish it with your mantra, safety chick.
Oh, Shay.
For safety chick to use that word for you this morning, no. You can tell that she's definitely in a good mood. All right. Someone says here, in the concept of home and school partnership, sometimes the parents must have some level of support to assist the child in work they have given or they have been given to take home. Absolutely. But now the question is there a need for further collaboration? Because when we talk about schools, of course, teachers, especially when it begins to get to the issue of the workload, I think most teachers do things independently. Should there be some form of alignment? Like, okay, school says that cumulative homework should be XYZ, so that while we fit into the age appropriateness, the quantity of task vis-a-vis the different instructors and different people, should that also come into context? And if it's so, how can that be achieved or attained? Let's go to Finn.
Yes, there should be collaboration and there should be collaboration and there should be all the people. For instance, if for grade 4, for example, all the arms in that grade, the teachers should be able to come together to map out their homework. They already know the concepts they're teaching. They can already find and say, oh, this is what we're going to use as homework for maybe the rest of the week or for the rest of that concept while we're teaching it. And so they're able to look at it together and weigh it. Is this really testing what we want? Is this really going to help the students further understand? For those who have shown that they might not have been able to catch up with the concepts in class, will this help them at home? So homework should not just be like, suddenly it's almost closing time, it's 15 minutes to closing time, and the teacher remembers, oh, they need to take something home today, and then you just get online and download one worksheet and give it to the kids. Look, go and struggle with it, go and handle it. As teachers plan for the concepts that will be taught per week, per term, yes, they should also plan the homework into the concepts. Make sure that it is relevant. Make sure that it fits into what they really want to measure. It fits into the goal of giving homework. And the academic coordinator of schools, yes, they may consider it as, this is not exam, this is not something that will be assessed for that affects the child's academic performance, really, in the sense of, it's not a continuous assessment, it's not an exam, but they also they should take interest, not wait until parents start complaining and saying either the homework. There's a possibility of giving children homework that is below their age. There's a possibility of giving them homework that is above their age. So the academic coordinator should also be in the know, get carried along. Look at, just randomly look at what the homework is. Look at just take a sample of students' impression of their homework, a sample of parents' feedback, and then we're able to say, yes, for this concept or for this time of assessment, the homework that we're given or the homework that children are taking home is actually it's commensurate, it's complementary to what they're learning, and it's helping them to be better. So at the end of the term or at the end of half term, the children can even go over the homework again as a form of revision, because it would have been that relevant to what they're learning.
Thank you so much for that. And I would like to ask, is there anyone who's come across any major research or who probably understands the back end dynamics of of homework, its impact on students in itself? You know, can we try to
Yeah, I mean,
share on that? And if at all we don't have research, yeah.
I've done research, Rotimi, and the truth is that there are conflicting. There's research for, there's research against. So, there was a research that was done says that homework did not prove to have any impact on on the children, you know, in terms of increased performance. Some other people said homework did, but the parties have not yet agreed. It hasn't been generally accepted that whether homework does, because they're of the conflicting research. But what you know, I personally think that homework helps. You know, that thing of revising, but it should not take the place of the teaching. So don't feel, oh, you barely teach the child anything and oh, homework will sort it out. I think in the end, remember that homework is revising something learned. So the focus should always be primarily on teaching. And then the homework, whether it's both classwork, because there's always classwork. Remember that the homework is the additional. So there's the teaching, there's the classwork, and then there's the homework. I think your earlier question in terms of guidelines, a lot of schools have homework guidelines. I know that some schools, you can only give homework 3 times a week. Some schools is only twice a week. So a lot of schools have guidelines, and I think it's important to have guidelines in every school. Um, Guidelines in terms of how the frequency of homework. So for some schools, when school just resumes, they never give homework in the first week. They start giving homework from the second week. So there are a lot of rules, but I think the main rule for me is really frequency and the time. So you know, I saw a piece of research that says that once they're in kindergarten, nursery school, their homework should not be more than 10-15 minutes. By the time they're year one, year two, it moves from 15 minutes to like 30 minutes. By year four, it's then about 45 minutes. Then year five and year six, which are, you know, preparation for secondary school, it then becomes, you know, max an hour. That's that for me. Those are the two general policies I feel should guide in terms of frequency and, you know, how long it should take a child to do the homework. Those two guidelines must be shared. But in terms of research, I will tell you that there's research showing that it doesn't. There's research showing that it does. So we can only speak for different people. But I feel homework projects, they help. I mean, though my husband likes to complain about the projects they give them, but there's just something about doing that reinforces learning. So one day they were talking to them about recycling, and they had to go, and the project was to do something. It's stressful for us, the parents, but even me, I know that just me doing something with the person, I am learning. You know, and it's something that I will always remember because it was a hands-on activity as against sitting there. And it's something they always remember their projects. They always remember their project. So while it can be stressful sometimes, especially the projects, you know, it's something that it really helps the learning. You know, I like what Safety Chick said. Those projects are never all the time. It's not as if the projects are every week. They're usually once a term, you know, and they're usually given around the midterm, during the midterm break.
Okay, thank you so much. That's quite loaded, and you've been able to answer those questions. And just so that we just have a breather, let's have a break and we'll be right back and we'll continue on the show. Do not go away, we're right back. Okay, welcome back to the Good Morning Education Show, and we are speaking today about whose homework, talking and deliberating about homework. And we have our fantastic analyst in the studios today. We have Titi Adelsi of Niger Kids. We have Ugochi Bidegu. That's the Safety Chick. We have Fiyin Falodun, and of course my very self, Rotimi Tayo. And we're having a great time on the show right now. And of course, which takes us to another question. And the question is, now that we have talked about the research that is both for and against, and of course the advice and counsel from TT, I would say that what happens to the place of student education and parent education? Because sometimes there are many things that will lead to assumption. I know that in my experience and listening to what you said, just thinking about it, if I was told how homework should be done, if I probably was told about the effect, the impact, and the power of homework, I probably would have embraced my homework much better than the way I did when I was in school. Homework was something I sometimes ended up doing in fear or doing like as a rush work. In some cases, colleagues of mine will arrange to come early to school so that we can just, sort out the homework or sometimes copy up from each other. And who betide you that morning you didn't get to school on time due to traffic? you know, so it has happened many times, trust me. So but then we just felt we were beating the system. If we knew, probably it would have been enshrined. I remember there was a time in secondary school that I had two maths lesson teacher. And so the school teacher will give me an assignment. Lesson teacher A will solve it for me. Lesson teacher A will not give me assignment. I'll not give lesson teacher B to solve it for me. So
Wow.
pretty much, yes, it was that it was that good, not that bad. So, but what I'm trying to say is, why are you laughing like that? What's that? Safety chick. So, how do we get to address this teacher education? I mean, parent education and student education. I'll start with Fee, go to safety chick, come back to Titi.
Okay, so I'll take it from the last part of what you said about students just rushing through homework, and that's because many times the homework is not fun, is not engaging for the students. Homework should be the fun part of what was learned in class. So in class, because there's already a plan that the teacher is following, I have to cover this concept within 40 minutes and all of that. There may not be so much time to go to make that learning fun. But what if teachers used apps, for instance, or used interactive websites for homework? And say, oh, okay, so for your homework, you're going to this particular site or app that the school uses or that the children have access to. And then we're going to take activity this and this, where every child, for instance, Kahoots, teachers could have homework in the Kahoots framework where the kids, it's fun for them. I don't think any child will want to miss such homework. Or they have some other interactive websites where they're doing their homework. Nice. I'm sorry.
You didn't hear what she said.
So we have here. We have our Niger Kids cards and games and all that can be used. that can be used for homework. Yes, absolutely. And it's going to, we will have more learning done. Even the parents. Yes, so you can have them read and draw something out for literacy, and that would also help parents because for many parents this generation, they didn't have that kind of homework. The kind of homework we had was straight paper and then having one lesson teacher solve another lesson teacher's problem. Those are the kind of homework that we had. But parent education in that format also would be encouraged. The parent is learning without stress. The parent is learning new concepts. I remember that I got the concept of the circle geometry. I got the concept of geometry right when I had to teach it and had to watch a video that the Pi series of videos. That was when I got that concept right. So for parents' education, students' education, if we have more interactive, more fun, more practical homework, then we have parents learning along with their children, and the children often, sometimes when parents say, well, this homework, I really don't understand this concept, or okay, let's try to figure it out together. The children have this way of saying, but my teacher said it was, if they can go to get research together to solve these problems, then as they're learning, the kids are learning, and it's not looking like, oh, mommy, you don't even know anything, or the parents feeling like, oh, let me shy away from this thing so that I don't look to my child like I didn't pass through school. So yeah, really, we can have a conversation and also inclusive and fun homework.
Thank you so much. Titi, over to you.
Oh, I thought it was safety chick.
Okay, sorry, safety.
Okay, but I don't mind with Miss Adeosi going. Anyway, anyway, I think that, Finn, you mentioned something very important, which has also been a cause of concern to me, where some parents probably shy away from assignments because it makes them look like they don't know anything. And it's not that they don't know anything, it's just that, time, maybe timing is different. The way things are being taught today is slightly different from maybe what they were taught. And again, maybe the subject is not to the area of the parents' strength. You see? Look as if mommy or daddy does not know anything, and that's not really the case. So I think that's a worrying point. How can we make it such that the things your children are learning, when they even need assistance of the parents are able to assist them to do their own personal research? So maybe thankfully today there's almost every question you have answered either on Google or through a video on YouTube. So I think it's going to take commitment from the parents to go learn and also be able to see how to break it down to their children when they have to work with them, because that support from a parent, because I remember when I was in primary school, I had to learn long division. I had an assignment on either. I still remember, how you draw that shape for long division, how you do it, the steps and all that. Yes. So it took a parent doing that with me for it to stick. So it's really important. And the ones the parents do not know, they can just do quick research, see how they can, find out and help the child.
Thank you so much. While you were speaking, we had KK joining us. KK, welcome to the show. Good morning, KK.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone. I'm so sorry I'm so late. I thought my meetings ran over, and yeah, I've just been able to pop out now.
All right, thank you. So, Titi,
Very
over
much
to you,
welcome.
and then we'll come back to KK.
I think it's a fantastic idea to educate the parents about the importance of homework. So maybe that's part of the things that should be part of the new parents orientation that schools do early on. So once the new parent, and maybe as frequent as often as they can, they should do that, because the more you educate them, it would help them to grumble less and encourage their children to do the homework. So I think that's actually a very good one. And then also, keep emphasizing the importance to the children. If the children also know that homework is not only just a chore, it can also help. And I like what Fee said, whereby don't always make homework one way. Look for other engaging ways that homework can be fun, so that the children actually enjoy doing it. So imagine a homework where you are teaching the children adjectives, or you're teaching them things, and you tell them, go take pictures of things in your house to send it. It's a bit more exciting, or go and look for something in your house. It's different from just the feeling of worksheets. So I think it's also important that we see how do we make it different, engaging, and exciting for the children.
All right, thank you so much. And as we're about to bring this to a close, we're going to give KK the opportunity to talk about this important topic. And of course, being the lady in the front line of the battlefield. So KK will say something. And KK, you could also help us answer Olatunde Adebayo's question. Can we differentiate between the concept of homework and assignment, please? So we're speaking about whose homework. So KK, over to you.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute my mic. Hi, everyone. Good morning. So, I mean, it's a really interesting topic, and I mean, I think it's whose homework is it? You know, and yeah, so I caught the tail end of Ugochi's comment, and then of course my cousin's comment as well. And yeah, it is important to you know, it is important that we let the parents understand, one, the importance of the work that the children do at home. Of course, the parents should be supportive, because at the end of the day, the work is being done at home. So there needs to be some level of support, some level of monitoring as well. I think the problem is when the work gets done for the child by the adult. And so you're reading work and you're seeing language that is almost impossible, you know, for the children to do, to be honest. I mean, they couldn't possibly know those words. They couldn't possibly form those sort of sentences. They couldn't possibly have that handwriting for just one night, right? And so obviously, even though the work was done at home, it wasn't done by the child. It's clear that it wasn't done by the child, right? And so the parents need to understand the fact that it is not perfection, it is progress. I believe that the way we grew up in that space of competition and just wanting to always be the best, you know, everybody's parent was came first in class. In that class, there were no seconds, you know, becomes what we begin to project on our own children. And that in itself is wrong, because it creates some level of pressure that you don't want a child to have to go through. Should they strive to be the best? Yes. But we cannot and should not negate the importance of progress, the importance of the children actually doing the work, internalizing the mistakes, because a lot of success lies at the feet, or lies in the place of failure. You know, a lot of success lies there. So the minute that you can internalize the failure, and then you can say, oh, you know what, why did I fail? And of course, how can I not fail going forward? Then we can begin to create really successful children. So the issue about assignment and homework. One is that an assignment is something that has it can be done at home or in school. So I think that's the first thing. So homework is under an assignment, right? So assignment is like the broad thing. It can be assigned tasks in school. So an assignment is an assigned thing, right? So you're assigning it to somebody. You can assign it for the person to do it in school, or you can assign it for the person to do at home. When the person, child or not, does it at home, then it becomes work that is done at home, right? So that's an extension of schoolwork outside of the school environment, because we need to understand the fact that schooling is all around us, right? So it's not just the four walls of the classroom, but this other places, work that they're doing at home. So that's how I see it. Assignment is the big one. Homework is, you know, something that is under it. I'm not sure if anybody has any other, you know, thoughts concerning the difference, but that's how I see it, right? All of them are assignments, because it's assigned to somebody to do. But homework is one that should be done at home, because it is a way to engage the child and just ensure that the child is learning those extra concepts, you know, doing it twice really, such that we can deepen the child's understanding, and of course for practice purposes. Yeah. Thank you so much. Back to you, Rotimi.
Thank you so much for that. I'll just chip in a funny response back to that, and then we'll end the show. For some people will say homework is for primary school, assignment is for secondary school. And in our own concept, assignment students can do together. Homework you're on your own when you're at home. So if they give you an assignment, if you've been assigned work, collaboration is permitted, you know. But if you're on homework, you have to do at home. Well, hopefully your parents have the time and have the intelligence to help you out to do that. All right. So on that note, we've had a great time today, and we do not want to keep anyone longer, so that it doesn't become slave work, as we just learned today that it's meant to be homework and not slave work. Hashtag TT Niger Kids. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We'll be here tomorrow, same time, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. for another interesting session, interesting episode of the Good Morning Education Show. Until then, the ladies on the show have something to tell you. Over to you, ladies.
When are the men going to be the ones to have something to tell them?
According to the word men is plural. Where we are more than one, we will say it for you.
Okay.
Well, you can add your voice today to give us a feel of a male voice within the female voice.
You want my big brother voice. This is Big Brother.
You know.
Okay, so let's do it together. After the count of 2. 1, 2. It's always
a
great
morning education show.
Good Morning Education Show. Have a great day, guys. Bye.
Bye.